Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I am in the mood for a spring makeup look. It is a beautiful spring day outside. We actually have not had very many of them yet. And by that I mean it's usually really cold here or really windy lately. So today we have nice temperatures, no wind, sunshine outside, things are blossoming, and I'm just in the mood to sit down and play with some fun spring makeup. So I've gathered some things, some from my Shop My Stash, some from my spring palette spin, and a couple of other random things that I just wanted to sit down and play with today. This is the makeup look that we will be creating. It should be a lot of fun. I am happy to have you guys join me today. If you are new here, welcome. I hope that you enjoy this video. Please be sure to give it a thumbs up if you do, and make sure that you are subscribed if you are not yet subscribed to my channel. But we are putting on a full face of makeup today, so without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so let's get started with some primer. I did already wash, moisturize my skin. I have some sunscreen on. For primer today, I'm going to use the Touch in Sol No Problem Primer. This is the primer that I put in my Shop My Stash a couple of weeks ago. I'm trying to use this thing up. I don't know why it is taking me so long. Actually, yes I do. I don't use primer every day. That's why. Just be warned, when using this primer, don't use a full pump. I find a full pump to be way too much. I think like a half or a quarter of a pump is plenty to cover my whole face, which I forgot about until just now, and it feels like I have a little bit too much primer on my skin. Hopefully it doesn't interfere with my foundation. So for foundation today, we're going to use the CYO Lifeproof foundation. I know this foundation has been discontinued, but I do still really like this one, and I feel like I'm getting pretty close to using it up. I don't know how this dispenser quite works. It looks like there's still a ton of product in here, but if you feel this, it feels like it's getting close to being gone. Let's cross our fingers. Maybe I will actually use this foundation up before it expires. I'm going to use my Wet n Wild sponge for this. Just apply that, whoops, everywhere. So many sunspots on my skin, which I think is just from the amount of time that I've spent recently outdoors watching baseball, which honestly has not been that much time, and I almost always have a baseball cap on, I have sunscreen on. I just think it's my age. I'm kind of at that age where any amount of time that I spend in the sun, it really shows up on my face, which is not very fun. I am really excited though. I just ordered a skincare product. It's called Muesli. They make a spot cream. My sister has used it before for hyperpigmentation, had really good success. It's kind of pricey, but I'm excited to start using it this week to try and hopefully fade some of these sunspots that I have. I'm even starting to get them on my forehead, which was like the one place I wasn't getting sunspots until this year. I can just feel 40 is around the corner. Let's now move into some concealer. So today I want to use my IT Cosmetics Bye Bye Under Eye. I really love this concealer. It has such good wear for me. It wears all day long. It's really nice and hydrating. A little trickier to apply than some of my other concealers. I don't find that it applies best with a sponge. I think I've said that before, but I do like applying this more with my finger. So I just took a mix of these two shades right here. I have the shade medium 22.5 and light 11, and I pretty much just mix those two equal parts. So I'm just going over any of these kind of spotty areas that I have. Man, I'm getting a lot of hyperpigmentation right here. Speaking of that skincare cream, I think it's a mix of hydroquinone and some other ingredients, which I've never actually used before, so I hope that it works for me. I've tried fading them with vitamin C, the azelaic acid. I just don't think it's strong enough. Haven't tried lasers yet. I guess that would be my next or last resort. I don't know that I want to spend money on doing laser treatments. I would love to know from you guys, especially those of you that have issues with hyperpigmentation or maybe are over the age of 35 or 40. Let me know if you guys do laser treatments for hyperpigmentation or sun damage. I'd love to know your experience with them. They work for you. My sister swears by laser treatments. I just can't bring myself to spend the money on them. How would I then buy all the eyeshadow palettes that I buy? I'd much rather spend that money on eyeshadow palettes. Before I go in with a little bit of powder, I'm going to add my eyeshadow primer right now. I'm just using my Profusion No Budge eyeshadow primer. Getting pretty close to using this one up. Then I'm just going to take a little bit of the Rimmel Stay Matte powder, start on my eyelids, set those down, make sure I don't have any creasing up on my forehead, and set my forehead down, and then with what's left I'm just going to kind of go around my nose and my cheeks, just a little bit. Alright, let's jump over to some bronzer. Today I'm going to use my Flower Heat Wave bronzer. This one is in the shade Sunrise L1. I'm going to take the Alter Ego #1 brush to apply that. I love this bronzer. It's so, so pretty. I like to kind of go over my ears and then pull it down the sides of my neck. Alright, next up let's add some highlighter. So I want to use my Daniel Sandler watercolor liquid highlighter. This one is in the shade Moon Glow. Stuff is really, really runny. And today I want to try to apply it with a kind of a stippling brush. This is my Luxie highlighter brush. I've never actually tried it this way before. Sometimes I like applying this. Oh boy, that's pretty strong. Just taking my finger along that top edge to make sure it's really pressed into the skin. Ooh, that's really pretty. That is seriously glowy in the best way. Okay, I'm loving this highlighter applied with this brush. It looks so glowy but natural, like a really healthy, natural glow. Why did you say that 2 times? Let's just move on to blush. So today for blush, we're going to take the Fenty Cheeks Out blush in the color Petal Poppin'. This is a blush that I keep overlooking. I'm trying to get some more use out of it. That's why I put it in my Shop My Stash, because I still feel like, even though I've had this blush for probably over 6 months now, and I'm a big fan of cream blushes in general, I reach for them very, very often, but this one I keep forgetting about for some reason. I do really like the warm, bright, peachy pink color. I feel like it's going to be perfect for spring. Maybe that's one of the reasons I've kind of overlooked this one, is it's more of a spring color than a fall or winter color, which is when I first got this blush. So maybe I'll get better use out of it now that it's spring and summer. It is quite a bright peachy pink, as you can see. I do like the formula. It's really nice. I'll be so happy if this cream that I'm getting can lighten up this little spot right here. I am determined to maybe not get rid of it, but at least lighten up this old acne scar right there. It is seriously just getting darker and darker with time. All right, there we go. I feel like my cheeks look really, really nice today. Let's move into eyebrows next. For my eyebrows today, let's do some e.l.f. brows today. I'm going to start off with my e.l.f. Shape and Stay wax stick. Big fan of this thing. It honestly has changed my brow game. It's a really good brow prep product. Like, I like putting this in before I go in with any other pencils or tinted brow gels or clear brow gels. It just helps me shape my brows the way I want them to be before I decide where I need to fill them in or where I want to set them down. It's like training wheels for your brows. I think I might have made that joke before. And can I just mention something? Big fan of this brow pencil, not a big fan of the spoolie on it. Something that I've discovered is I've tried a lot of different brow products out over the last couple years and just gotten a little bit better and more practiced at doing my brows, is the importance of a good spoolie on a brow product. I think it makes all the difference in the world. It really does change the way you can shape your brows when you have a really good spoolie. It's one of the reasons I love the Ulta Beauty brow pencil so much. It has the very best spoolie. I love that spoolie. L'Oreal Brow Stylist also has a great spoolie. Ooh, this one is just about out. Let's see if we can use this thing. Probably not today, but soon. So I'm just gonna go into some of the sparse areas, mostly right here on the underside and a little bit up through my arch is where I need the most help. To be really careful with this brow pencil because it is rather thick and pretty creamy, so it can deposit a lot of product. But I do like it, and I love the price point. Who doesn't love a $2 brow pencil that gets the job done? Let's set those down with a little bit of clear brow gel. I'm going to take this right here. This is from Etude House. This is the Keep My Brows Clear Brow Gel. Technically, this is not in my Shop My Stash, but I'm getting very close to using up my Brow Boss gel, and it's out of stock right now. I actually went to replace it and it was not in stock, so I'm trying to diversify what I'm using in my brows so I can hold on to that product for a couple more months. And I do really love this one. It's a little bit more wet, but it does wear well, it doesn't flake, and it dries clear, which is good. And not too crunchy, as long as I comb through it before I let them completely set. Alright, brows are done. Let's move into eyeshadow. So today, for today's look, we are digging into my spring Shop My Stash. We are going to use one of my favorite spring palettes. It is the Huda Beauty Nude Light palette. A couple of you had requested that I use this palette in a video, and I was happy to oblige. I love this palette so very much. I want to do something anything in here is going to give you a beautiful spring look. But today I'm really feeling this row right here. I want to use these kind of taupey purples. I'll be honest, most of the time when I use this palette, I stick to this section right here a little bit more, but we're going to kind of dig into some of these that I don't use quite as much, but I do love them. They are absolutely beautiful. Let's get started by going in with my Refer number 16 brush. I want to start off in this purple shade right here. We're going to slowly start building this up through my crease and kind of up onto my brow bone. This is such a pretty soft purple that's not too warm or too cool. Really good neutral purple if you want like a soft, delicate spring look. And I'm actually going to kind of run that all over the outer half of the lid as well. And then I'll build it up a little bit more in this outer corner. I want to try and avoid using the dark brown in here because it is quite warm. I love it, but I want to keep kind of the cooler tone purple of this color. So I'm going to use a lot of this. I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but I've got this little mark right here on my eyelid. Somehow in the middle of the night about a week ago, I woke up and scratched myself in the eye with my fingernail, like on my eyelid. It's kind of random. I told my husband about it the next day and he was kind of making fun of me because I have this weird thing that I do sometimes when especially when I am falling asleep, or actually I think I do it sometimes like in the middle of the night, but I'll do this weird thing with my hand when I'm laying on my back. I'll put my hand like this and fall asleep like that. He's taken pictures of me to prove that I do this really weird thing. I have a couple of them actually from over the years. Very strange sleeping habit that I sometimes have. Alright, so I am loving this color right here. Let's add a little bit of that to the lower lash line. I'm going to take my Refer number 2 brush, the smudge brush. We're going to do the same thing on the lower lash line. Just slowly build up some of this purple color about halfway across. And then I'm going to take this shade directly below it. I thought about using this shade. I'm not sure I want to go quite that purple today. I want to do more of like a taupey sort of purple. So we're going to take this one right here. I love this shade. It is so, so pretty. We're going to use it kind of all the way across the lid. Alright, that looks great. I do want to add just a little bit of brightness to the inner corner. We're going to do that with this matte shade right here. So I'm taking the Refer number 3 brush, this little pointy brush right here. You could also use like a small flat concealer type brush for this. This is a really nice matte formula. Oh, I love Huda's shimmers in here. This is one of her last palettes that had solid shimmers across the board. Some of her palettes since, like the Haze palettes, I've talked about this recently, but they've had a couple of issues with some of the shimmers in there. She changed some of her formulas or added a different or new formula that I wasn't a huge fan of. But I have always, always been a huge fan of Huda's mattes. They always work so well for me. And I'm just going to take a clean finger and I'm just going to really blend this edge right here. So there's not a harsh line between the matte shadow and where the shimmer starts. I'm almost taking a little bit of that shimmer and moving it over the top of that matte, just very subtly. That looks really bright and pretty. So I think I know I said I didn't want to use the dark brown and I'm not going to put it on the top, but I'm thinking I want to take this matte brown in the corner that is a little bit warmer and add that kind of just under this lower lash line right there, almost as a wing liner that just goes across the lower lash line up to the outer corner. So it's just going to add a little bit of depth, a little bit of shape to this outer corner right here. That I think looks really, really pretty. Let's add a little bit of liner. So we're going to dip into, let's take my trusty Wet n Wild Simma Brown Now liner. I just want to add a little bit of this to the upper waterline. And then rather than add this on the upper lash line, I'm just going to add it from the outer corner in a really subtle like wing motion, just to kind of go over that powder liner that I put right there, but I don't want my top lash line to have liner on it. Did that make sense? Hopefully you guys can just see what I'm doing. Sometimes it's best not to talk and just do, Mandy. I just want that to be really nice and soft and super, super subtle. There we go, right there. That is it for the eye look. I'm going to add a couple of coats of my Thrive Cosmetics mascara, but I'll put a few coats of this on, then I'll be back with you guys and we will finish off with the lips. Alright, eyes are finished. Aren't they pretty? They're kind of pink, kind of purple, very springy. I really love this eye look. Let's now move into lips. So I want to do something a little bit different with my lips, something I've never tried before. We are going to combine my Cool Tone Oh Snap lip liner with a warmer tone Charlotte Tilbury lipstick and see if we can get these two to work together. I'm just going to apply the tiniest amount of this lip liner just to the center of my lips And just very slightly, not necessarily fill them in, but just kind of add a little bit to the center portion of my lips that we will then go in and kind of cover up. And hopefully these two colors will mix together nicely and not clash too much with each other. I'm just kind of really pressing that into the lips so it's nice and blended. I got some outside of the lines right there. We'll just pretend like that didn't happen. Let's go in with the Charlotte Tilbury JK Magic. Then I'm going to take a clean finger and just press that into my lips so those two colors really mix together. Okay, I still feel like it's a little bit warm. I'm going to add just a little bit more of the Oh Snap lip liner, but kind of on top. More sort of in the center, just to tone down some of that peach just a little bit. I feel like that looks a little bit better. I think if we add a little bit of pink gloss, maybe that will help just a little bit. So I'm going to take the Persona lip gloss in the shade Pink and add just a little bit to the center. Alright guys, so this is it for the lips and the eyes. I feel like the lips are a little too warm for my eyes. So I know that I said I wasn't going to do this, but I think to get my eyes to match the lip just a little bit more, I'm in a little bit of this warmth to my outer corner. I feel like it will help the lips to kind of coordinate a little bit better with my eyes. So I'm just taking the tiniest amount of this on my Rephr number 13 brush. And again, this is just that warm brown in the corner. And I'm just going to run this very lightly in this outer corner right here. There we go. Don't you feel like that really tied the lips to my eyes? Probably the easier thing to do would have been just to wipe off the lips and put on a cool tone lipstick. But actually, that's not true. This was probably easier and quicker. It takes me a few minutes to line my lips. Alright you guys, that is better. I feel like everything is coordinating now. I still love this eye look. I think it is so pretty. I am always such a huge fan of the eye looks that come out of the Nude Light palette from Huda Beauty. It is stunning, especially this time of year. You cannot go wrong with any one of these shades in the spring. They're colorful, but not too colorful. They're pastel, but not too pastel, if you know what I mean. I love that palette so very much. Overall, I am very happy with this entire look today. I feel like everything looks really good together. I'm thrilled with how my skin looks. I have to say, you guys, I am pleasantly surprised with how the Daniel Sandler liquid highlighter turned out, especially applied with this brush right here. I just applied one drop to the back of my hand, really worked into this small fluffy brush right here and just really blended it into my skin. I love the subtle but really intense glow that this gave me. Very natural looking. Big fan of that, and I have high hopes now. Maybe I will have to try that with the blushes, because if you haven't heard me say this before, I've had a little bit of trouble getting these Daniel Sandler liquid watercolors to work for me, so hopefully that will help. Very happy with everything else. I love this eye look. Adding that warmer shade to the outer corner helped to tie the lips together. They were kind of bothering me. They were clashing a little bit, but overall, very happy with how this one turned out. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys are loving using this spring, if it is spring where you are living, whether that's something old or something new. What's really inspiring you right now? Let me know down in the comments below. Have a lot of fun videos coming your way very soon. I've placed quite a few orders over the last 4 or 5 weeks, and they all seem to be arriving just about the same time. So be on the lookout for some trying new makeup videos coming up very soon. I've got a lot of stuff that I'm very excited to try for you guys. So let that be a reminder. If you are not yet subscribed, I hope that you will do that before you leave. But that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you guys again so much for stopping by. I hope that you guys are doing well, and I will see all of you guys in my next video. Bye. Speaking of spring days, plans to plant some things in my garden today. I'm trying for a garden again this year. It's a small garden. I mean, it's like 4 feet by 8 feet. But I'm gonna try planting some lettuce, some basil, and possibly some peas. And then at the end of May, I'll plant my tomatoes. I'm thinking I might try zucchini again. I had a massive failure with my zucchini, which apparently was supposed to be one of the easiest plants to grow. Everyone told me, zucchini, you don't have to do anything. You just plant the seed and it just takes off and you can't even stop it. But mine did not work. I have the most opposite of a green thumb ever. So I'm crossing my fingers that I have a little bit more success this year. What was that? It's like the genie. I Dream of Genie. Is that what that show is called?